So we move on, guys, to the next fight for section 15. This is fight number 14. Yeah, fight 14. Yeah, and as you saw, this one comes from Deadpoolzilla, and he asks me to do this fight, and I was always willing to do it. So he asks me to do Storm Shadow from G.I. Joe, Cobra, you name it, versus Taskmaster from Marvel Comics. Yeah, we got Storm Shadow versus Taskmaster. Very interesting fight. Very interesting. So let's kick it off with Storm Shadow. Storm Shadow, of course, is by far one of my all-time favorite Cobra operatives, if you want to call him that. I mean, he associates with Cobra, but sometimes he doesn't let Cobra rule him. But yeah, he leads the Oroshikage ninja clan. He's pretty much the main adversary, the ultimate adversary for Snake Eyes, of course. And Storm Shadow is just a magnificent and dangerous adversary. Trained in the art of the Oroshikage style of ninjutsu and many other hand-to-hand combat styles. He is inanimate and great with various arts of weaponry, from bow and arrows to katanas to his famous katanas. He usually uses, of course, shurikens, ninja stars, you name it, poisonous darts, anything you would think that would be in a typical tools of the trade for a ninja. He pretty much is a master at. But at times he can be very cocky. He can be very cocky and brash, and he will not admit that Snake Eyes is better than him. He will never admit that. That's out of the question. But his arrogance sometimes knows no bounds, and that's how he can be defeated. He's mainly defeated through his arrogance, and since Snake Eyes doesn't talk, Snake Eyes just lets his skills do the talking. But despite that, he is a good leader at times. Just don't get under his bad side. Don't fail him. But he is a good leader, and he is very dangerous and the Joes know not to really screw around with Storm Shadow at all. They know when he attacks, when he fights, he's going for the kill. He's not going to just leave you with the scratches and things like that. So we move on to his combatant in this, and that's Taskmaster. Taskmaster, very good character. I think Taskmaster is a little bit underrated, under the radar for Marvel. People who don't really know who a lot of Marvel characters are, they just know by, the big names. But this is a great character that was co-created by George Perez. He actually co-created it with him. I'm forgetting the other guy who created it with him. But Taskmaster was and is a mercenary at best. He is skilled in hand-to-hand combat. Hell, he happened to train a lot of Marvel characters in hand-to-hand combat, like U.S. Agent, Spider-Woman learned under him at times. But it's always, a lot of people always ask me, Chris, does he have powers? Like, what's his abilities? He doesn't necessarily say he has superhuman powers. What he has is a great photographic memory. Pretty much they classify it as being, he has what is known as, what do they call it? A photographic memory, but it's something else. It's, about photographic reflexes. Like, he can watch somebody, like any kind of opponent, at peak human level and just learn how to do that, his skills, and learn it. So if he watches Daredevil fight, he'll know how to fight Daredevil right there and mimic his movements and things like that, as well as a marksman like Hawkeye or Cap and things like that. He can use that, and he's skilled with weapons as well. He's dangerous. He's very dangerous, and a lot of people come to know not to screw around with him. So in terms of a battle between these two individuals, this would be a very interesting fight, because Storm Shadow sometimes doesn't take his opponents sometimes seriously, because once again, I play that up, that arrogance that he thinks he's the best, you know. But what if he met somebody that has photographic reflexes? He watches, you know, since this is like a once in a lifetime fight, and you know this is right there on, you know, no kind of prep time, you know, basically Taskmaster's going to have to learn Storm Shadow's reflexes right there and then. He's going to have to watch him fight right there. It's not like he has footage of him, because that's usually how Taskmaster does his operations. Like, he watches footage of people and he learns from there. But in this time, it's going to take more than just his photographic reflexes to deal with Storm Shadow. You know, and if Storm Shadow, and I can kind of see maybe even the, you know, Storm Shadow feeling that he could do it by himself, but if not, you know, he might bring in the his, you know, the Roshek Hage to help him out, you know, and that's where it could get very interesting for Taskmaster. But I do think definitely Storm Shadow would want to fight, you know, man to man, you know, just one on one, you know, to prove who is the better warrior in a sense, and you know, have bragging rights. But for me, I may say slightly to Storm Shadow, even with Taskmaster's photographic reflexes. But what do you guys think? Taskmaster or Storm Shadow? I mean, yeah, I did it backwards, but no problem. But other than that, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Show some love and respect to Deadpoolzilla. This was his creation. I will see you guys Friday with the next two fights. We're really getting down to the wire in Section 15, and I should have, and I repeat again, I should have Section 16's lineup sometime this week or this weekend up. Next fight comes from Spawn Haunt, and he pits the likes of Black Canary versus Twilight Suzuka. That's an interesting fight. And then I'll bring another fight. Fight number 16 will be, for the first time ever, I'm putting David Tasu, aka Batwing, versus Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin. And other than that, this is Mount Vernon Kid saying peace, one love, stay tuned, keep it real, guys. As always, I'll catch you later with the next fights Friday. And you guys know the slogan, battle on.